Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Hey everybody, welcome to another great edition of Freed on Business. We've got another segment with our AI expert, Olivia Ramos. Olivia is the founder of Deepblocks. Deepblocks uses AI to analyze real estate transactions. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also talk about the AI component of my new real estate technology that I'm putting together for my real estate funding platform. Stick with us. It's going to be a tremendous show. I want to thank our friends, as always, the cutting edge technology folks at Warren Henry. High five to Eric Day for his insights, knowledge, Larry for his forward thinking ideas, Warren for empowering them, Jack for helping me finance my car, Gio for helping me pick out my car, Mital for helping me to keep my car in shape. We love our friends at Warren Henry. It's great to be part of the Warren Henry family. And now let's bring on our AI expert, Olivia Ramos. Mr. Mendoza. All right, we're back with the Freed on Business artificial intelligence entrepreneur, founder of Deepblocks. Welcome back to the show, Olivia Ramos. Thanks for being here as always.
Thank you for having me, Jim.
It's my pleasure. Sock it to me, Olivia.
Yes. So today, I hear you have a new project. Yes. And I want to really understand what you're doing and understand the pain points that you're solving and understand how it scales. So those are the three main subjects. I know. Let's take it one at a time. So if I was a 5-year-old, how would you explain your project?
I'm helping people reduce costs and improve efficiencies while they raise money for real estate.
Okay. So it's a sort of syndicator?
Exactly.
Okay. And using what methods? Why is it special?
Artificial intelligence, blockchain technology. People go, what's blockchain? Well, what's a token? I go, turn over and look at your right. In my office, it's on the right. See that file cabinet? That's the token. Open it up. Okay. See that big fat agreement in there? That's the smart contract that governs everything. How's that for 5-year-old? Okay,
let's unpack it a little bit more. So you are syndicating real estate projects via tokens. So yes. I buy a token. In other words, I buy a token and I hold that token, and the money I pay for that token.
So unlike the unregulated currency plays that everybody got burned on, this is an SEC FINRA compliant representation of an actual asset that can be valued at any time.
So as opposed to a utility token, right? So it's a security token, which means it can go up and down in value. What is the main difference between a security? Okay.
It's a security.
Yes.
It can go up and down. It's got to be regulated by the SEC, which is what you've been reading about. A lot of people didn't do in the past.
Yeah.
I won't mention the C word or the B word, but you know what I'm talking about. And, what I'm doing runs on a blockchain code technology on the Ethereum platform. So we use the Ethereum platform to secure our data.
Okay. So let me say that again. So I buy an Ethereum based coin that's on the Ethereum blockchain, and that coin, the money I pay for that coin goes to a real estate project.
Platform. It's on your platform.
Okay, so let me take it back again. I go to your platform, I buy a coin. Does that coin go to the money I pay for that coin goes to a real estate project? Do I choose the project?
Yes.
Okay, and is that project is it a specific type of project, or are there many types of project? Is it acquisition? And
it could be many different things. It could be a project. It could be a fund. It's best used by the investor to do a recap, because right now it's best efforts, and I don't want them depending on I'm going to fund the whole deal. It's still a nanoscent market, but it's moving rapidly. Today, I had a call with somebody that I've been talking to about this for 6 months, and they acknowledged at the end how far I've come and how they're getting ready to put their project, one of their projects, as a test on my platform. They're wondering what the timing is, and I don't really like to do these things marked by a specific date. We'll talk about the fact that the timing is becoming now. Because
let me reel it back a little bit. Let me reel you back a little bit.
Takes a couple of months, and then we're going to break escrow right at the right time now.
So in other words, you said it's not for a new project necessarily, it's for the recapitalization.
It could be for anything, but its best and most efficient use right now is to either fundraise, or
for what? Fundraise for what?
Fundraise for what? Fund.
Yes, and what is that
this
fund?
This is being used by institutions I can't mention yet to raise funds.
Okay,
a
real estate
going
fund.
to be investors in the company that I'm venturing with on the platform. We're beyond close. I can't even talk about it more. You
don't have to talk about it, but I want to understand how it works. So I buy a coin. The coin goes to a specific project or a fund.
You have a wallet. You put my coin in your wallet, or I'll give you a wallet.
Okay, sure. And then how do I monitor on
the dashboard that I provide you?
Not the question. Okay, my question is, how do I monitor the project I invested in terms of what they're doing with that money, what they invested in? If it's a specific project, how the project is coming along. If it's a new development project, new construction project, what phases of the project are moving forward? What is my risk level? Is the coin changing in value depending on where the project is? Or is it mostly all coins are the same price for that one offering? Or is there a variety of options?
I'm not sure about that question, so let me kind of go into it, okay?
Okay.
So today, the guy in Singapore who wants to invest in U.S.-backed real estate debt has to buy the A, B, or unrated piece of a illiquid security that some person in Cleveland originated, that some person in New York sold. Once they buy it, they're either in it for the long haul, they liquidate it through a special market maker, probably a big discount, or they get called by the special servicer that says, oh, you made a mistake. Here comes the pain. Those are the three options. With me, there's a fourth option, which means they can sell it into the market today at whatever the market value is. And you go, well, how do they know what the market value is?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the buildings that are being built today, and if they're not, they can be retrofitted in a relatively inexpensive way, have a box on them that talks about this is the water usage, this is how many cards got swiped, this is the lights are on, the lights are off. Nobody's on floor 15, but why is there somebody in there? Because the janitor lets them in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All those statistics today are not really used for valuation. However, they exist. Send them up the pipeline to the appraiser that has a script that values them, that's accepted on a standardized basis. And now you've got the ability to value the real estate transaction for either the custodian of the institution or the family office or the person. Today, those custodians are asking for annual valuations. Soon it'll be every 6 months. Then it'll be every month. Then it'll be every week. It'll be every day. Then it'll be instantaneous. And when it's instantaneous, the person sitting in Singapore pushes their button, the script goes out. Now it can go buy anything on those platforms, and it can buy make-believe half a floor of the Pan Am building, 2 floors of the Starwood building in Miami, and since it needs yield, an office building in the oil patch at a higher yield. And now, if that person wants to sell tomorrow, they can sell tomorrow for the new value, which is either higher or lower because they signed a lease, they lost the lease, more people came in, whatever. And that's the way it works. Doesn't work that way today. It'll work that way when it's a wide market acceptance. And instead of being the unusual case, it becomes what the IoT is. It becomes ubiquitous. When it becomes ubiquitous, then people will be able to use this and buy and sell it through their Robinhood account or on the Jim Fried platform, which I'm not telling anybody what I'm calling it yet. And they're going to want to have what I call open garden. Today, the developer has their thing. It's on my site. Nobody but their investors can see it. Tomorrow, it'll be open garden. I'll have 10 deals with 10 different groups of investors. They'll all be able to see everything because they're doing it anyway. They're just not telling the guy that they invested in that one office building with, invested in the shopping center with the other guy. Soon they'll be able to do that all on my site, which will be FINRA compliant, SEC approved through a real broker dealer, fully compliant with all of the guardrails that a traditional security has to have in today's United States. And by the way, in other countries, because we're doing this all over the world. We're doing it with people from Brazil, Argentina, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Europe, everywhere.
So would you say this is mostly for
doing this in the Singapore Exchange? I'm not.
Would you say this is a bigger opportunity for foreign investors to invest in the U.S.?
Both, but yes, this will create the ability for foreign investors to access investments in the United States in a seamless basis, because part of the code, when they hit my website, when you do the demo, which you got to ask for, then I'll give it to you. Part of it is it goes from subscribe, click, and then it's when you hit subscribe, it's checking your anti-money laundering, your know your customer, are you an accredited investor, where do you live? Because if you're in the United States, you can't invest in this because this is a reg. One of these investments that it's for a foreign property by foreigners only, so it's offshore completely. On and on and on.
Let me ask you something. Are you demanding full transparency of each project or each fund in order for the investors to have access to that? Or is it like publicly traded companies that certain amount of reports need to be created?
It's like publicly traded companies. There's certain reports that'll have to be filed on a regular basis. They'll be defined. They'll be available, readily available. Just like the SEC makes it transparent so that people can make honest investment decisions. That's
what does that mean? Great. What does that mean for real estate? Like, there are major data points right now that are not being shared to the public, like operating expenses.
People that don't share their data openly will be penalized eventually with a lack of liquidity and a limited number of investors. They will be rewarded for transparency, and they will be rewarded for being on this system. In fact, they better start right now, because in the beginning, when the wheel starts to turn, there's going to be more people wanting this stuff than there will be stuff available. What's that date? Probably about November 15th.
Okay, great. Let me ask you something. Are there already standards in place for real estate related securities of what the developer or what the fund needs to expose? Or is it, for example, copying the same as like a REIT would have? I've never seen any REITs talking about operating expenses.
You didn't give me a chance to answer. Okay. You got to give me a chance to think and then answer, because this is a legal question that I can't answer is the answer.
Okay.
That's a question for lawyers and for the SEC.
Well, I think it's important to know
whatever they say. Period.
Sure. I'm wondering if,
you're
if it's already in
place. You say, sure. Talk about the people that were flying 18 months ago, just doing this as crowdsourcing with nothing, no supervision.
But this is different.
They got crushed.
This is
going to
real estate projects,
online real estate security, just like TICs, just like DSTs, just like public REITs, just like private REITs, just like master limited partnerships. This is a regulated security with reporting requirements and everything else that the SEC regulators are going to ask for. And if you do something and they see that they didn't ask for it, but they should in the future, guess what? They will, and you'll do it.
Okay. I see the innovation on a project by project basis, because right now I could invest in any number of REITs, which is a fund, and I'm not going to have a lot of transparency in exactly how they're operating their buildings. I don't think, I've read through a lot of the documentation, and there's not a lot of information, to be honest. It's not that rewarding or transparent. So if these are already established companies, why would I invest in a fund in a brand new platform with a brand new technology, with a brand new way of transacting? I think the only reason, or the most attractive reason, is if I can see the project, if I can see the development, either that or there's a much higher return.
Let me talk to you in broad strokes, so you'll really get it. Okay.
Because I don't get it.
About 40, maybe 45 years ago, there was a complete collapse in the ability for companies that weren't A-rated credit to raise money. Some guy named Michael Milken came up with junk bonds and liquefied that, and he solved the problem. When I was trying to buy portfolios from the RTC, there was no CMBS market. We had to raise it from rich guys. By the third tranche, Michael Milken's protege, a guy named Ethan Penner, had created the CMBS market, and there was the ability to micro-invest in these portfolios. Both things happened when there was a complete shutdown in the capital markets for real estate, just like it's happening now.
Okay.
And when there's a shutdown, people look for new things. When I go to these technology firms, conferences, and the tech guys are talking to you, believe me, they don't talk English. They talk tech, okay? And they go, well, how come nobody's adopted this? And one person goes, well, it took Bitcoin 8 years to get adopted. No. It's because while they've been developing this, money's been free and easy. Well, now, money's not free and easy. I keep getting these reminders, for calls coming up on my little to-do list. They're all calls with people. The guy that just came up is 80 years old, doing $1 billion worth of development. And when he's got stuff he owns, that's when I'm going to do it. The first ones are going to be recaps. I don't trust it. I do trust it, but development, you got to really know you're getting the money. And on the first round, it's going to be acceptance. And when it gets accepted, it's going to take off like a steamroller. Big banks will offer this. The stockbrokers will offer this. The funds like BlackRock and Blackstone are already doing this. They just don't tell you. It's just in the house.
Let me ask you for you to unpack a little bit.
Is trying to become a trading exchange for crypto, which we don't use that word because this is not crypto. This is not crypto. This is asset based.
Can you unpack a little bit when you say shutdown?
What does it mean, shutdown?
When you say market shutdown, you use that word so that we're all on the same page about what you mean by that.
Give me the context. Oh, you mean, okay. The capital markets are in flux and no one's really getting loans at the level they did or at levels that can make transactions happen. And it's for a variety of reasons. The increase in interest rates, the inability for people to project values out a couple of years, all that kind of stuff. Now, if everybody was playing by the same rules and using the same appraisal standards and driving the same information, then there'd be a certain class of transaction that might have a little bit of liquidity. Where would you find that? On my platform.
Okay, so this is an alternative.
I'm actually
alternative way.
Once we broadcast, when this gets broadcast, I'm going to send this to my partners. I hope they don't use it to train people, but this is really what's going on.
Okay, so in your opinion, how many of these opportunities will be funds versus specific projects?
Just like today, it depends on the sponsor and their perceived desire on how to do things. I have one high net worth developer that I say, you should do a fund. He goes, why? I just build these things and hold them. So he doesn't need a fund. But the person that wants to build 30 data centers, making that part up, may need a fund unless they're a big multinational investment firm. And if they are, guess what? I got news for you. they'll syndicate it to other multinational investment funds. Today, when a bank makes a loan of over $50 million, you think they keep the whole thing on their books? No, they syndicate it. That's why I'm talking to big banks about using my technology simply to streamline their syndication of their loan and make it more efficient, even if there's only 3 participants.
Okay. I'm trying to understand, where is the biggest pain point here? Because I see a lot of opportunity, of course. There's the pain point of the regular person trying to invest in a real estate project and not having the amount of money required to invest in a commercial project, for example. So that's
right. And by the way, my
point.
platform won't be taking $5 and $10 investments. It'll be $250.
What's the minimum investment?
For a minimum.
Okay, 200,000 minimum.
Well,
That's
I'm
what you're
using
saying?
that for a bogey. I'm not saying that's what the number is yet.
Okay, and does it have to be a qualified investor?
It may. It depends on what kind of security the person's floating. But whatever it is, that will be pre-qualified during the subscribe phase when you click the button.
Well, I mean, like a qualified investor, like they have to have a net worth above $1 million.
Right. It's a term. What you're using is a term.
Okay, no, just making sure.
The answer is
I don't know
sometimes yes, sometimes no. If they're investing a dollar, probably not.
Okay, so that's solving one problem. One problem is there's going to be a lot of people who have between 200,000 and 500,000 that, that's not enough to be part of a large commercial project, right?
Wrong.
That's not enough to own your own commercial project, but is enough to come into your platform and own a piece.
I don't think I'm understanding your question.
My question
if a person has $200,000 to $500,000, can they invest in a commercial project? Yes. Can they invest in a big commercial project as a fractional owner or an investor?
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem you're solving. You're able to allocate that money to a more a stronger investment. Because a $200,000 commercial project is not. Okay.
Different one.
So that's one aspect of it. But so it's not yet to like the regular public. It's people who have $200,000 to throw around. That's one.
Well, okay. You're throwing around terms like throwing around. I wouldn't use throwing around. I'd say $200,000 is a lot to anybody, and they would seek to make a prudent investment with it.
Okay, but it's not the $10,000 investor, the $5,000 investor.
Those are different retail investors.
Okay, it's not to that retail investor. Great. Okay,
it's to different retail investors and family offices and investors and investment funds. That's who we are targeting. There are other sites
those are your
doing
coin
this
buyers.
Similar thing.
Those are your coin
that are targeting the $1 to $1,000 investor. That's not us.
Okay, so your target market is the family offices and funds that are looking for things to invest in, and they're going to buy these coins.
Registered investment advisors that are looking for products to sell their coins.
Okay, so both family offices and funds.
Or I could create a fund for the RIA.
Hold on. I want to understand how this works. So you have a two-sided marketplace. On one side is funds that are raising money, and another side is funds that are trying to invest this money. But they're the same type of funds?
You're losing me now with your stuff.
I know, I'm lost. Okay, so you have a two-sided marketplace. On one side, there are projects or funds to invest in, and these are being tokenized. Is that correct?
Yes.
Who owns these projects and funds?
A sponsor sponsors the project.
Okay, and the sponsor can be
an individual or a group of people.
Or an individual or a family office, right?
Or an institution, right?
Or an institution, right? And on your buyer side, the buyer of the coin, so the other side of the marketplace, these are family offices, funds, or institutions that have above
or high net worth investors,
or
that are defined by the smart contract that's inside the token that we have created for the project sponsor or fund sponsor.
Okay, so then you're buying. Basically, could you say that the buyer and the seller are within the same type of person or tier or economic tier?
Could be.
Could be.
Lots of the
Okay.
sponsors are high net worth individuals.
Okay, so it's not necessarily bringing
Or the
real
sponsor
estate
could be an
projects.
investor, or the
Okay.
sponsor could be a publicly owned developer.
Perfect. Okay, so but it's not necessarily yet bringing giant development projects to the masses, to the retail investor.
November 15th. First, I have to have a critical mass of projects and I have to have a minimum critical mass of projects and a minimum critical mass of investors. There's things happening in the general marketplace where all that's coming together fast and furious, finally. The next part of the story about Ethan Penner is that if he had started a year early, there would have been no need. If he had started a year later, there were too many competitors. But because he started at the right time, he hit it. And what's happening is I've got sponsors I'm speaking to. God, this is going to go in the time capsule. Sponsors I'm speaking to that are going to allow me to present their projects on my platform. Eventually, we will have distribution through a variety of sources for their tokens or shares or fractional ownership components of their product, and they'll be processed through a FINRA compliant, SEC approved process for people to invest in. And eventually there will be minimum critical mass where they'll be able to change and exchange them in a more liquid format than they can right now. How'd I do?
Okay. Let's talk about for a second, what is the long-term impact of this type of platform? Like, what is the long-term impact if it grows?
It's going to make transactions more efficient. It's going to give sponsors access directly to investors rather than having to go through an institution. For instance, a guy wants to borrow $20 million of equity to build an office building today has to go to one of the big institutions. Tomorrow, he may be able to go up on the platform and raise it from qualified investors that he defines the way that pool looks like. Are they all U.S.? Are they all foreigner? Is it a mix? That depends on the fund structure and the legal structure of the transaction.
And I'm trying to understand who wins the most here, because
everybody wins.
Okay, no.
Everybody wins. The investor gets more information, so they're better able to make a good decision. The sponsor wins because they get their equity not from one monolithic person one monolithic group or person that can say yes or no, but from a mosaic of investors that come together so that one doesn't control the whole thing unless the paperwork says it should.
Let me ask you something. So the one of the major problems you're solving is liquidity. And you mentioned that before. So as an investor of a coin, I can sell it at any time.
Eventually, right? Yeah, you can, but eventually it'll be much more liquid than it would be today.
Okay, let's say I could sell it at any time. But this money that I paid, I'm trying to understand the value that I'm creating.
You're not creating it, you're unlocking it.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm paying for this coin. This coin goes into a project. It's spent, right? And now this coin has a value according to how the project performs. So where is the liquidity if I wanted to sell it, if that money was spent in the project?
You sell the coin. The coin has an immediately marked value. The coin is being constantly marked. The value is constantly being marked. So you want to sell your coin, you raise your hand on my platform, you say, I'm selling this, and somebody else goes, oh, look, finally, a piece of Olivia's deal is available. She bought her investment is valued at 30, but she only put in 20. I don't care. Today it's worth 30, I'll give her 30.
Okay, never mind. I think it's just like a stock. So like if everybody starts selling, it'll just like reducing value.
Yeah,
That'll
but you
happen
can regulate that just the same way you can put in the document that only 5% of the available shares can trade in any one day. I'm making this up. I don't really know if that's for sure. I need to get the broker dealers compliance people on at this point. I don't want to overstate anything or say anything wrong.
Yeah, because then you create that would feel uncomfortable if I had to wait in line to sell if I wanted to sell.
It all depends on what your expectation of liquidity is.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to.
Today, you can't sell your investment in the CMBS. You can't.
No, but if you're buying,
well, that's what we're talking about.
Security, if you're buying a security, you have to understand how people like perceive securities. And if you're saying, you could buy and sell a stock at any time, same day.
I didn't say that. I said down the road, when it reaches minimum critical mass, this will probably occur. It should occur.
So right now, I cannot sell it tomorrow if I buy it today.
It has not reached minimum critical mass. You could sell it tomorrow. I just can't tell you what the value would be. And I can't tell you I have a buyer yet. It hasn't started yet.
I know. I'm trying to
This
understand.
is a marketplace.
Okay. So there are a lot of unknowns still. I think it's an exciting path, but there's a lot of unknowns in terms of what are the rules that are specific to a project. I would be interested to know.
That's in the smart contract.
But who designed that smart contract?
Well, each project will have a smart contract. It'll say all the investors have to invest this much money. They have to be accredited or not accredited. They have to all be U.S. or not all U.S. or a blend. It has to be for this project only. If it's a fund, it has to do this. It's exactly the way it is now, only it's on the blockchain, which makes it a lot more efficient.
Last question.
And a lot less expensive.
How do you regulate the developer or the fund's integrity in what they're using the money for?
Well, you send somebody out there to take a look and manage that. You audit them. It's a security. They're signing up to be audited or not. You'll see, I can get this audited. It's audited twice a year. It's not audited at all. Why would I invest in something not audited?
Okay. And that auditing, the auditing happens, the SEC does the auditing or
your accountant does the auditing, just like you're a public company. You have to file an annual corporate return.
Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to understand how it would work in this realm. It will work just like any security, basically. That's what you're promising.
Just like any master limited partnership or TIC or DST based on that technology. But eventually this comes into an open market or a pool where you can be traded. But that doesn't exist today.
Is that what will
why wouldn't I buy a REIT?
November 15th?
It has income requirements and distribution requirements where it breaks the REIT. This is not a REIT. This is strictly a syndication. It's just like what happened on the golf course 40 years ago when the developer's playing golf with two orthopedists and his tax attorney. And the tax attorney says to the developer, hey, wouldn't you love to pull your money out of the deal and maintain management, leasing, and keep it back end? He says, sure. And the two orthopedists he goes, wouldn't you like to write 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 off your income? And they go, sure. And 50 years ago, the first country club limited partnership was formed. Same thing, different time, different way to document it, same general purpose and concept.
One last question. So you have a minimum buy-in for the coin. Will you have a minimum value of a project coming into the platform?
Well, the cost to do all of this makes it not efficient under about $3 to $5 to $10 million. So somebody's going to need to spread this cost over a larger project.
Okay, so tell me more about the cost of bringing a project into the platform then.
It all depends on the services that somebody wants. I'm doing this as a consultant, so I don't get a conditional fee I get a setup fee basically, and then an ongoing fee for services. I'm providing people with a technology advisory platform. Now I can go out and get my broker-dealer license and become a broker-dealer and then earn a piece of the deal. But that's not where we're at right now. Right now, we're just acting as a technology advisor and a technology provider.
Okay, but my question is, why is a $3 million minimum value of a project? Like, why? What are
it costs a couple $100,000 to get started.
To put a project in the platform.
Yeah, to get it underwritten and through the platform, get the data, to mint the token, to get the blockchain set up, all that stuff.
Okay. Do you think that cost will go down over time?
Not sure. It's pretty low right now.
You think it's low?
Oh, yeah, that's low for what they're doing. Oh, yeah. You know how much it costs to do an EB5?
I used to work for a regional center.
Okay, so how much does it cost to do an EB5 for a deal?
You mean for the investor?
No, for the person that's sponsoring the EB5 to set it up, everything else.
It depends on the project. Yeah, it depends on the project.
Well, okay, so there's your answer.
And they take about 18%.
Not this. Way less than that. Somebody brings their own investor, we don't charge them at all. If we originate an investor, well, we'll negotiate with everybody on how much that is theoretically. But there's a flat commission charge that the broker dealer that I work with charges. I don't get any of that. I only get like over, the technology fee, not the transactional fee. I'd have to get a license with the SEC to do that. And we're not there yet.
All right. Well, I'm excited to continue to discuss your progress on this. And you mentioned November 5th. What can we expect November 5th?
That's a date
15,
that's in general that I'm circling that we're anticipating will have critical mass and demand, and this thing will start turning. I'm guessing.
November 15th. Okay. So let's have a follow-up at the end of November.
It may happen after that. Lots of things are still, I'm starting something new. I can't tell you exactly when, but I've had people now that I've been talking to for months that are really getting excited because they're now seeing the finish line.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about it.
Well, Miss Ramos, Olivia Ramos, smartest person I know on AI, my AI expert, asking me all the questions about our new blockchain technology that we're setting up with Oasis Pro. Stick with us to find more details on that. And I want to thank Olivia as always. Thank you so much, Olivia. Mr. Mendoza, this is your part. Hey, everybody, I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry. They've been a sponsor of the show for, well over a decade, 10, 15 years. We love our friends at Warren Henry. They treat us like gold. I want to thank them for taking care of my mom and I and my wife. And remember, whenever you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can at Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, Jaguar, and Lincoln up at 151st and Biscayne. In Gainesville, they've got a tremendously gorgeous Audi store down in the Keys. They've got a store that sells all the great nameplates. And what do these cars all have in common? Well, besides being great cars, they come with the Warren Henry Advantage. The Warren Henry Advantage is a long list of services that I talk about all the time. Everything from a free loaner car to taking care of your rims if you scrape them up, to replacing your keys if you lose them. Those are expensive, fancy keys. You don't want to lose them. And if you do, they're really expensive to replace. Warren Henry will help you do that. They'll, of course, guarantee that you're getting the best price on the car that you're buying or leasing. They'll make sure you get the best value for your trade-in. They'll give you 3 days to make sure you like your car. You can trade it back. Nobody ever does that because they just love those cars. So join me, my beautiful wife, Vivian, my mom, lots and lots of my friends, more and more every day, clients, customers, everybody. They all go to Warren Henry, and you should too. Why? Because always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Can AI supercharge your real estate analysts? With Deepblocks, you can now canvas entire cities in minutes. Search by total buildable, potential units, and uses allowed. Now live in 100 cities. Book a private demo and supercharge your real estate analysts. Deepblocks.com/demo.
Hey, everybody, please reach out to me at Sandstone Realty Advisors. I'm Jim Freed. I'm the founder. We use all kinds of real estate cutting-edge technologies and structures to help our clients capitalize their real estate transactions. Industrial, office, retail, multifamily, condo. We're working on all of them and getting them closed. Reverse mortgages and jumbos and super jumbos, Fannie and Freddie conforming loans for our friends and high net worth investors and their clients, friends, and customers. We get those done too. Reach out to me, DM me. My personal brand is that I self-actualize by helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. I do that by solving their problems and bringing them peace of mind. Remember, whenever you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
I want to thank Olivia Ramos for being on the show. She's our artificial intelligence expert. She's the founder of Deepblocks. We were just talking about how artificial intelligence will impact my new real estate investing platform that I'll be doing to help people syndicate their real estate transactions in an SEC and FINRA compliant manner. Remember, reach out to me. My personal brand is that I self-actualize by helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. I do that by helping them solve their real estate problems and bringing them peace of mind. Remember, we'll be dropping a new episode of Freed on Business next Wednesday at noon. We drop them every week at noon on Wednesdays. I want to thank Riga Mendoza for being my producer. I want to remind you that our sponsors are Warren Henry Automotive, Deepblocks, and Sandstone Realty Advisors. And remember, the person wants to do something finds, and the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies. How can I forget my alma mater? I love those folks. We'll be up there for the new event that they're having this fall, the Real Estate Advisory Board Retreat. Can't wait to see all my board members and the new students. And remember, the person that wants to do something finds a way, the other finds an excuse. Now go out there, make it happen. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Mr. Mendoza, this is your part to shine.